After I got into a fight with her best guy friend, she took me to the side and told me, "You need to say you are sorry to him, or we are finished." I just stared at her. Then she said something else. She said, "He was in my life before you were, and he matters more than you do." I did not say a single word. I just hopped in my truck and drove off. 3 days later, she was standing outside my apartment door, crying and begging me to forgive her. I am not much of a writer, so please be patient with me. I never thought I would be posting a story here, but the things that happened recently have me second-guessing a whole lot of stuff, and I could use a fresh pair of eyes on the situation. Let me give you some background. I am a 45-year-old man. I work as a general contractor. I got divorced 6 years ago, and I have a teenage daughter who lives with her mother. I have been seeing a woman named Jennifer. She is 38 years old, and we have been together for a little over a year. We met while I was fixing up the coffee shop she manages. It was the standard way things happen. She would bring me a cup of coffee, and we would talk while I was taking a break. Eventually, I asked her on a date. We got along right away. We have the same sense of humor, we both like being outside, and we both had been married before and had no desire to do it again anytime soon. It has been good. It is comfortable without being boring. Or at least, that is what I thought. Then there is Brian. He is 42 years old, and he has been Jennifer's best friend since they were in college. She told me they dated for a short time during their second year of school, but they decided they worked better as friends. They have been attached at the hip ever since. He was the man of honor when she got married. He helped her get through her divorce. He is basically a permanent piece of furniture in her life. I have run into Brian a bunch of times over the last year. It is usually when we are in a group, like at game nights, cookouts, or birthday parties. He has always been decent enough. He is not exactly nice to me, but he is not mean to my face either. He just watches me, like he is trying to figure out if I am good enough for Jennifer. I have tried to be friendly and get to know him, but he keeps a polite wall up between us. Here is where everything went wrong. Last weekend, Jennifer had a dinner party at her house. It was nothing fancy, just some friends coming over to eat steaks off the grill. I showed up early to help get things ready. Brian was already there. He was standing in Jennifer's kitchen acting like he paid the mortgage, mixing up drinks and telling her how to cook. I thought it was no big deal. They are close, so I figured it was normal. The night started off fine. The food was good and the conversation was easy. Once we finished eating, we all went out to the back deck. Someone started talking about politics, which is always a bad idea. Brian and I realized pretty quickly that we are on totally different sides. Neither of us is extreme, but we just see things differently. We kept it polite, but it was obvious we did not agree. I was not trying to be pushy. I was just saying what I thought when people asked me. But every time I made a point, Brian would look over at Jennifer like he was waiting for her to jump in and tell me I was wrong. When she did not do that, his tone got nasty and rude. Finally, after he made a comment that was really looking down on me, I spoke up. I said, "Look, man, we can disagree without the attitude. We are all adults here." You would have thought I slapped him across the face. His face turned bright red, and he spun around to look at Jennifer. He asked her, "Are you going to let him talk to me like that?" Before she could say anything, I said, "I am talking to you, not to her. And I am just asking for some basic respect." Brian stood up with his drink in his hand. He said, "You do not know what the hell you are talking about. You never have. Jennifer knows it, too. She is just too nice to say it." I looked at Jennifer. I expected her to calm things down or at least stay neutral. Instead, she was staring at Brian with a worried look on her face, like he was a bomb that was about to explode. "Brian, he did not mean anything by it," she said, trying to soothe him. The hell I didn't, I shot back. I meant exactly what I said. We can disagree without being disrespectful. The whole deck went quiet. The other people at the party looked uncomfortable. Brian set his drink down with a lot of drama. I think I am going to head out, he said. Call me later, Jen. Then he walked through the house and left. I heard the front door slam shut behind him. Jennifer immediately jumped up and followed him inside. I could hear their low voices, but I could not make out the specific words. When she came back out, she was clearly shaken up. What was that all about? I asked her when she sat back down. Not now, she mumbled. Then she pasted a fake smile on her face for the guests we still had left. The rest of the night felt tight and awkward. After everyone finally left, I started helping to clean up the mess. That was when Jennifer pulled me into the kitchen. She had her arms crossed over her chest. You need to apologize to Brian, she said without wasting any time. I almost dropped the stack of plates I was holding. Excuse me. You embarrassed him in front of everyone, she said. You need to apologize. I set the plates down gently on the counter. Jennifer, he was being rude and talking down to me. If anyone owes an apology here, it is him. She shook her head at me. You do not understand. Brian does not handle conflict well. He feels attacked. And I feel disrespected, I shot back. Has it ever crossed your mind that your best friend might not like your boyfriend very much? That is not true, she said, but her eyes looked away from mine. He is just protective. Protective? I am not a threat to you. And even if I were, you are a grown woman who can make her own choices. She shifted her weight, looking uncomfortable. Look, this is simple. You need to apologize to him, or we are finished. I stared at her. I could not quite believe what I was hearing. You are giving me an ultimatum over a disagreement with your friend? That was when she dropped the bomb that changed everything. He was here before you, and he is more important than you. Those words just hung in the air between us. I felt like I had been punched right in the gut. It was not just because of what she said. It was because of how matter-of-factly she said it, like it was obvious. It was like I should have known all along that I was in second place. I did not raise my voice. I did not argue. I just looked at her for a long moment and absorbed the truth of where I stood in her life. Then I grabbed my keys off the counter, walked out to my truck, and drove away. She called after me, but I did not look back. When I got home, my phone was already buzzing with text messages from Jennifer. Where did you go? We need to talk about this. You are overreacting. Please come back so we can discuss this like adults. I turned my phone off and went to bed. I slept surprisingly well for a man whose relationship had just blown up. The next morning, I had a dozen missed calls and even more texts. I read them, but I did not respond. I went to work and focused on a bathroom remodel job that needed my attention. I came home, watched a ball game, and ordered a pizza. Life goes on. By day 3, the calls had slowed down, but the text messages had gotten more desperate. I was not ignoring her out of spite. I just needed time to think. I needed to process what had happened and what it meant. That evening, there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Jennifer standing there. Her eyes were rimmed with red, and she was clutching her purse like it was a life preserver. I thought about not answering, but that seemed cowardly. And whatever else I am not a coward. So, I cracked the door open, but I stood right in the frame so she could not pass. Can I come inside? She asked. Her voice sounded tiny. I do not think that is a smart move, I told her. Please, she begged. I need to explain myself. I paused for a second, and then I moved out of the way. She walked in and sat down on my sofa. It was the same spot where we had watched 100 movies, where she had fallen asleep against my arm, and where we had been intimate on slow Sunday afternoons. But right now, she looked like someone I did not know at all. "I am sorry," she started. "The things I said were terrible. I did not mean them." "Yes, you did," I answered calmly. "That is exactly why it hurt as bad as it did. Because you meant every word." She began to weep then. The tears were running through her makeup. "I have known him for such a long time," she sobbed. "He is like family to me. I cannot lose him." "And I get that," I said. "But what I do not get is why keeping him has to mean losing me. Why can it not be both of us?" "It can be," she insisted. I was just upset. "You two are the most important men in my whole world." I sat down in the armchair across from her instead of on the sofa. I wanted to keep some distance between us. "No, I am not," I said. "You made that crystal clear. And that is fine, Jennifer. You are allowed to put whoever you want first in your life. But I am allowed to do the same. And I cannot be with a woman who sees me as something she can just throw away." "You are not something I can throw away," she cried. "I love you." "Do you really?" I asked. "Or do you just love how I fit into your life as long as Brian gives the thumbs up? Because the second I messed up that balance, you were ready to dump me." She did not have an answer for that. "Has he always hated me?" I asked. "Or was it just since things got serious with us?" She looked down at her hands in her lap. "He worries that you are going to hurt me like my ex-husband did. So, he decided to make himself your permanent bodyguard, and you let him do it," I said. "It is not like that," she tried to argue, but her voice was weak. "Is it not? Be honest with me, Jennifer. Has he ever liked a single guy you have dated?" The silence in the room was my answer. "I deserve better than this," I said finally. "And by the way, so do you. A true friendship would not hold you hostage like this. A real friend would want you to be happy, even if that meant he had to share your attention." She started crying even harder. She told me she had gotten into a massive fight with Brian after I drove off. She said she had realized some things about their friendship that had been bugging her deep down for years. She told me she wanted another shot with me. Part of me wanted to give in. I wanted to hold her and tell her we would figure it out. But a bigger part of me, the part that remembered how cold she was when she told me who mattered more, stood its ground. "I think we need some time apart," I told her. "I need to decide if I can stay in a relationship where I am always going to be the runner-up. And you need to decide if you are ready for a relationship where you do not have to constantly ask for someone else's permission." She left slowly, but only after she made me promise that I would at least think about giving us another try. I promised I would think on it, and I have been doing just that. It has been 5 days now. Jennifer has sent me a text message every single day. She is not pressuring me, she is just checking in. Apparently, Brian is furious with her for choosing me over him, even though she has not actually done that yet. Just the fact that she questioned their dynamic was enough to make him have a meltdown. Her sister called me yesterday. She said she has been trying to tell Jennifer for years that her relationship with Brian was not healthy. She said he did not want to be with her romantically, but he could not stand seeing her with anyone else. She told me this was a pattern they had all watched happen with every boyfriend she had since college. I do not know what I am going to do. Part of me still loves her and thinks maybe we could work through this mess. Another part of me knows that old habits are hard to break. She has had 20 years to make this weird friendship feel normal. For now, I am taking it one day at a time. I am getting some clarity by myself. I am remembering that I would rather be alone than be someone's second choice. I will update you folks if anything big changes. I want to say thank you for sticking with me this far. I added an edit to my post because I woke up this morning to find hundreds of comments waiting for me. I appreciate the support and the advice from everyone. I want to answer some common questions I saw. First off, no, I do not believe Brian and Jennifer are sleeping together. This situation is not about sex. It is entirely about control. Second, a few of you said I abandoned her at the dinner party. That is not true. I only left after all the other guests had gone home and she had made it crystal clear where I stood on her list of priorities. I did not leave her stranded, and I did not make a scene. Third, a lot of folks asked if I missed any red flags. Looking back now, the answer is yes. Brian texted her constantly, and often while we were spending time together. She would always text him back right away. He had an opinion on everything, from which restaurants we should eat at to whether or not I was the right guy for her. There was also that one time he crashed our weekend trip because he happened to be in the area, even though he lives 2 hours away. Fourth, to the people saying I am being too tough on her, maybe you are right. But I have already been in one marriage where I was not the priority. It took years of therapy for me to realize my own worth after that mess. I am not going to do it again. Fifth, just to clear things up, we do not live together. Jennifer has her own apartment on the other side of town, which is why she had to come knock on my door instead of already being there. We had talked about moving in together down the road, but we were not at that stage yet. Update. 10 days later. Jennifer and I met up for a cup of coffee yesterday. We picked a neutral spot downtown that neither of us usually goes to. She looked worn out, but she also looked determined. She started talking first. She told me she had been doing a lot of thinking and had come to some realizations about her friendship with Brian. Apparently, after our big fight, she started to notice things. She saw how he quietly dictated her choices. She saw how he created emergencies whenever she was focusing on other relationships. She saw how he had trained her to put his feelings above everyone else, including her own. She showed me some text messages he had sent her after their argument. They were manipulative, guilt-tripping messages about how she was throwing away 20 years of friendship and choosing some contractor over her family. Reading them made my skin crawl. That was not a friendship. It was an emotional hostage situation. The most revealing part was when she admitted that Brian had hated every single man she had ever dated. He had actively ruined several of her relationships. He had even told her ex-husband private details about her past just to cause problems between them. And she had always forgiven him. She always kept the friendship going. She always put him first. I do not want to live like that anymore, she told me. I have already talked to a therapist. I have my first appointment next week. I told her I was proud of her for seeing the unhealthy dynamic for what it was, but I also told her that I needed to protect myself. We agreed to take things very slowly. Just casual dates, with no pressure. While she is working through her issues with a professional, Brian has acted exactly how you would expect. When cutting her off emotionally did not work, he tried a new trick. He started showing up at her job and sending her flowers. He is acting like the perfect friend who just wants her to be happy. It is classic manipulation. To her credit, Jennifer has kept her boundaries firm. She told him they needed space and that their friendship would have to change in a major way if it was going to continue at all. I am cautiously optimistic, but I am moving forward with my eyes wide open. Some of you warned me to run for the hills, and I get where you are coming from. But I have seen how hard she is working to break free from this dysfunctional relationship, and that counts for something in my book. I will update you all again when there is more to share. Update. It has been 1 month, and things have moved forward in ways I did not expect. Jennifer has been steady with her therapy and has kept her boundaries with Brian. He responded by switching back and forth between showering her with affection and flying into a rage. It was the classic playbook of an abuser. The final straw happened last week. He showed up drunk at her apartment and demanded that she let him inside. He was yelling that I had brainwashed her. She called the police. They removed him from the property, and she filed a restraining order the very next day. It was painful for her, but it also cleared things up. She told me it was like finally seeing the whole picture after years of only looking at single puzzle pieces. She has been reconnecting with friends she had drifted away from during Brian's reign over her life. His possessiveness had slowly isolated her over the years. As for us, we are dating again, but we are taking it slow. I attended a therapy session with her so I could better understand how to support her without crossing any lines myself. Her therapist explained that breaking free from a codependent relationship is a lot like being deprogrammed from a cult. It takes time and patience. Brian has apparently moved on to trying to turn their mutual friends against her, but he has had limited success. Most people have seen his true colors by now, especially the ones who saw how he acted firsthand. A few close friends have even reached out to apologize for not saying something sooner. That said, some people we know have taken his side because they believe his twisted version of events. Jennifer says that has been hard, but also revealing. It is showing her who her real friends actually are. Brian and Jennifer work for different companies, thankfully, but his workplace has also gotten involved. He repeatedly tried to contact her through their business email addresses. Her human resources department documented every incident and helped her set up professional boundaries. They blocked his email domain and alerted the front desk security about the restraining order. I am impressed by the strength Jennifer has shown through all of this. Recognizing and fixing toxic patterns is not easy, especially when they have been going on for so long. Whether or not our relationship goes the distance, I am grateful we have both learned important lessons about healthy boundaries and self-respect. For those of you who suggested I should have just apologized to keep the peace, you need to understand something. This was never about politics or a small disagreement. It was about a fundamental imbalance in how she valued our relationship versus her unhealthy attachment to Brian. Sometimes, walking away is the only thing that breaks the spell. Final update. 6 months later. Jennifer and I are still together, and things are better than they have ever been. She has continued with her therapy, which has helped her recognize and fix other patterns beyond just her relationship with Brian. The restraining order expired, but Brian has largely stayed away. He has apparently started a campaign to rewrite history among their mutual friends. He is casting himself as the victim who was replaced. Very few people are buying it. Those who saw his behavior at the dinner party and afterward have a pretty clear picture of the dynamic. Jennifer has apologized multiple times for what she said that night. However, I have told her that actions speak louder than words. Her actions have consistently shown that she is committed to building a healthy relationship based on mutual respect and appropriate boundaries. We are moving in together next month. Taking that step feels right now in a way it would not have felt 6 months ago. We have had our share of disagreements since that night, but they are different now. We talk things through as equals without any outside interference. To the person who commented that you cannot compete with history, you are right. But that is not what this was about. It was about recognizing that history is not always healthy just because it is familiar. Sometimes the longest relationships in our lives are the ones that do the most damage. Thanks to everyone who offered advice and support during a difficult time. Sometimes standing your ground and knowing your worth is the best form of self-care. And sometimes, it gives other people the courage to stand their ground, too.